All right. Welcome, everybody. I am so excited to be here with Amanda and Janet and lots of other friends to talk about this new technology, Healy. And I was thinking, we're already, the three of us are synced up with our Healys. We're running coherence frequencies. But I just thought if we could take maybe just a minute and all of us drop in together, because it gives me an excuse to use my new drum. So let's just all focus on our breath for a moment. And just let yourself connect to the breath, drop into this moment. Just dropping into your own coherence. And just feeling your place here. Connected with all the women on this call. And take another nice long inhale. And just bring your awareness back. And so Amanda and Janet and I are just going to take about 5 minutes each and just tell about our experience, about how we came to discover the Healy and the things that we're seeing, experiencing, that kind of thing. And then we'll also have time for questions, for other people to share any experiences they've had, that kind of thing. So I'm going to turn it over to my friend Amanda, and we'll start there.
Hey everyone, I'm Amanda, and Tammy has recently come into my life this past August, and it's just such a pleasure to get to know her and spend lots of fun time in the quantum field with her. But yeah, so the way that Healy came through to me is I make a lot of art, and I've been sharing my art on social media, specifically Instagram, for 8 years or so. And I have a community of people who are creative that I love to be inspired by. And there was this one woman who I kind of watched her, she's always been producing work and sharing, and I watched her sort of transform before my eyes from like a lone wolf that was sort of hiding behind her art and kind of in this scarcity and lack mindset. And over about a 3-month period, I just watched her blossom into this happy, joyful, showing her face, sharing woman. And I'm like, what is going on? And because I kind of had a similar feel. I mean, I'm pretty happy, but I definitely wanted something to help me kind of break out of my shell. And so I just kind of started a conversation with her, and I was like, what are you up to? I'm watching you blossom before my eyes. And she said, well, I'm using this Healy and I'm kind of getting to know it. And she refers to it as an oracle. She's like, it's an oracle. It is, it gives me what I need, just like an oracle deck. And she started talking to me about it, and my whole body was like, oh yeah, like this is it. I just knew. And so I just went ahead and took the leap, just totally trusting that this was a path for me without really knowing too much about it. And shortly after, I was excited to share it. And before I even had it in my hands, I created an entire web page on my website about it. And I was just so jazzed to have finally found this tool that really brings me into alignment with my best version of self. And so it's been over 3 months now since I've been using the Healy, which is this little, I got mine tucked in, this little tiny device. And the device isn't doing any work for me, right? The device isn't the thing that does the thing. The device just is a communicator to send frequencies to our bodies. And, this is physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual, or like, the auric, the chakra system. And it's inviting the body to come into harmony, come into coherence, which is what we all just did energetically at the beginning of the call. And so at a cellular level, at a subparticle level, at a quantum level, it's working to bring us into our most optimal being. And so it's been, I feel like it's this, for me, it's been this culmination, this cumulative, gentle move from still having a lot of just scarcity, I guess would be the good word for me, to a place of really trusting, like in my actual energetic body, really trusting that I'm cared for, I'm on the right path, and I can step into service because I feel so good. And so I do a lot of other practices that help me align my frequency. Healy is not the only thing that does it, but it's like this distillation. It's this at like the true essence of what you need coming through as a frequency so that your body can accept it and then adjust accordingly to come into alignment. And for me, it's just been incredible. And being around women and men who are also committed to practicing raising their vibration with frequency has just been such a pleasure to be around. I get to hang out with people who are vibrating higher, and we get to like weave together this creation of the future where we get to all blossom together and then tend to the garden of this beautiful planet and all of those around us, with our frequencies emanating and rippling outward. So that's me. What about you, Tammy? Oh, you got to unmute.
Thank you. So my experience goes back 20 plus years ago when I discovered frequencies. It's like when Reiki was the gateway for me, and it just like blew my mind. I'm like, oh my gosh, of course we're energetic beings, and so I've been on this journey for 20 plus years, doing everything I can to raise my vibration. And that's been Kundalini yoga, and I always go for the there's yoga and there's Kundalini yoga. I always go for the thing that's going to blast through, because I realize now I have a lot of density in my lineage to blast through. So Kundalini yoga, family constellation work, it's always like the most potent thing is what I go for. And so I had met Amanda, and we had done some constellation work together, and also just felt this, resonance in how we view the world and whatnot. And so she sends a newsletter out, and she's talking about quantum healing. And I'm like, oh, I want to read this. And the first thing, she describes the experience we had in family constellations work. I'm like, oh, this is exciting. And then the next thing was the Healy. And I had heard nothing about any kind of frequency devices. I knew nothing about this. But the minute I read about it, I just got a full body. I mean, it was just a full body tingle. And I'm not proud of this, but it is what it is. I am the person that will go straight to the sales rack, circle the sales rack 10 times before I finally buy the $12 t-shirt. Like it's part of my DNA. But for some reason, I did no research on the heat. It was such a full body yes that I was just like, Amanda, I want one of these. Which one do I need to get? And so I started doing all my research after I got it, and I've had mine for 3 months, and I'm still learning about it. I mean, it's just this ongoing process of learning all that it provides, and it's been one of the pleasant surprises of it is it's not like I had this grand expectation and it's like, oh, well, instead I went in not really knowing, and it just keeps expanding everything that is coming out of this device. And again, I know that I am the ultimate tool, I am the ultimate holder of frequency, and this is like training wheels. That what I really feel like, there's so many different things I'm seeing happen, but ultimately it just feels like it's expanding my capacity to hold more frequency, higher vibration, and really just stay in, like really be able to live from a fifth dimensional place while residing in this 3D world in a much, much, much more comfortable way. That's probably what has been the most transformative for me. I have shared it with many people and could go through a laundry list of, the results people have seen, both physical, mental, sleep, all kinds of different things. But for me personally, it just feels like a big expansion has taken place, and it doesn't feel like before. I kept feeling the expansion and almost a crash, and an expansion and it was kind of like trying the training wheels is the best analogy, because it feels like it's helping me stay upright and I'm on this new trajectory without crashing. So then I don't remember, somehow Janet and I shared it with her, or she reached out or something. And so I will turn it over to you, Janet, to share your experience.
Okay. Hi, everybody. It's so good to see your faces. Okay, so I had seen the Healy on Instagram or something, like maybe a year ago, and I was kind of like, that looks interesting. Just, didn't register really. And I too have been playing with frequency for years. I am an energy healer, and that has continued to expand for me over time as I continue my meditation practice, along with being an energy healer, working with energy, understanding more deeply. Everything's energy. It's all about the energy. If you move the energy, you're moving yourself. All that sort of stuff. And then I get in Tammy's newsletter, and she's talking about this frequency device, the one I had seen on Instagram some year ago or something. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is really interesting to see this thing and to hear her talking about it. So I called her, and we had several conversations. One morning I woke up and my solar plexus was just all out of whack. I maintain my chakras pretty well myself with a daily practice, and I just bleh in the belly. And I thought, I wonder what Tammy can do, if she can do a distance with this little frequency device. So I call her up, and she's like, yeah, let me see. I haven't done that before, but I know there's a way to do it. And so we're working with this, and she starts running a frequency for my solar plexus. She's in Florida. I'm in Nashville. I'm familiar with distance healing from my own healing touch work. Have done many, many distance healings, but so I knew it was a thing. And so I go out in the yard to walk my little dog while she's running this thing, and it wasn't 5 minutes, and I was feeling better. I was just back in my body, and that lasted the rest of the day. She ran that thing for probably maybe 20 minutes, I think. And it sustained with me the rest of the day. I was not physically with the device. during any of that time. So that really got me thinking about it, and I'd read more about it and think about it some more. It's expensive, so I was sort of, and one day I was meditating and just poking around with this idea, and I was like, I gotta get this device. So I go on the website and I'm reading about the business structure for this device, and I realize it's a multi-level marketing business model. And I was just like, ugh, I don't know, that's just not me. And then I thought to myself, am I really going to keep myself from this device because I don't like the business model? Because the business model rubs me the wrong way. It's not about the business model at all for me. It's about the healing that can come to me and others through the device. So I went, I got the Pro, and I've been using it since. And I have used it when I am doing healing touch with people. I have used it when I have been doing intuitive readings with people. I have been using it when I have facilitated family constellations. And I tell you, it's a next level thing. I have had very deep, profound experiences. I've been meditating for 20 years, and I have had some profound experiences over the years. And this just sustains that at a level that I can't really describe with words. It's just, when I have done healing touch while you hooked up to the device, or had it running on the client as I've done healing touch, they're just like, what the heck are you doing? You know, they can't believe it. It's out of this world, literally. We're having lucid travel. I mean, it's just the experiences that we're having together as I use this during healings is just phenomenal. And I wish everyone had a Healy. I mean, wouldn't it be an amazing world if everyone felt this good all the time? Yes. So if you're curious and you live in Nashville, come and book a healing touch session with me and experience it for yourself. My intuitive readings too have just been like, I've had some pretty amazing experiences with people over the years, but when I'm hooked up to the Healy, it's easy, it's deep, it's accurate, it's fifth dimension way of being. And I am going to talk a little bit, I don't know, I want to save time for questions here, but I want to talk a little bit about the physical experiences I've had with healing. In 2020, I had my left hip replaced because it had completely deteriorated from osteoarthritis. This is an ancestral thing in my lineage. Multiple generations behind me have suffered with it. And I know that there's some ancestral blockage along the way. I have been using the bones and joints program daily. It had gotten to the point where when I cooked, my hands ached. I could no longer sew or knit. Those are things that I love doing. Gardening was becoming very difficult for me. It was getting in the way of the things I enjoy. And since I've had the Healy about a month, and I've been running this bones and joint program daily since then, and my hands, I can cook again, I can sew. I love to do this kind of creative darning with all different colors, silks and stuff. And I'm doing that with no pain afterwards. It's really, we're talking about healing in the quantum field. Anything is possible. I would say whatever you need healed, this thing can help facilitate it, because it puts you into the quantum field in a deep, resonant way. that is, I don't want to say it's impossible without it, but it's much more difficult. So like I was saying before, I've had these amazing experiences over the years in meditation, but I wasn't able to sustain that. Like Tammy was saying, it'd be up, down, up, down. With this, it's sustainable. And last week I had COVID and I ran some frequencies, different ones. I was contacting Tammy going, what do you think? What do you recommend? She suggested the lymphatic program. And as soon as I started it, my whole head just, I mean, it was like a faucet opened and it just drained. So I never had fever the whole week. I do have a cough. I had one day I had a headache. The fatigue, I had some, but I tell you, I had an incredibly mild case. And I don't have any evidence for this, but I feel that using the Healy made a big difference in how I experienced COVID. And there was something else. Oh my gosh, the sleep thing. Okay. So since perimenopause, I have had horrible insomnia, so much so that I would go a week or two at a time on 3 hours of sleep. One morning, I'm putting on my mascara on my eyebrow, thinking that that was where it belonged. That's how much insomnia had, impacted my life. And if I run the sleep program, you can set it to run 8 hours, and I sleep 8 hours. The first night I ran the program, the next morning I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I had forgotten what it's like to be well rested. Totally forgotten. I've coped for so long with lack of rest. And with the Healy, I am sleeping. So these are all, my experiences with it. The physical benefits, the spiritual benefits are profound. Oh, there's one other story. I'm sorry I'm talking so much, but I have to tell you the story. So my son is getting married. His father and I are divorced, and we don't have a warm relationship. I would say it's at a state of detente. We're not active enemies, but we're not going to ever be bosom friends. So we're doing this rehearsal party together, and we're going to get on a conference call and start planning it together. And I'm just praying for help, with this. And then I thought, the Healy, I got to get the Healy going. And I ran the Inner Strength program. And I stayed so solid in my body, completely unflustered. I was kind. I have to say, I was consistently kind through this whole phone call. And it went great. And I think we're going to have a great experience with this wedding, partly because of the Healy. I'm going to use it through the whole thing. So that's my story. Really so grateful that I have wandered into this, having this device in my life. I use it with my husband, my children. I'm always like, you want to run a program? Can I run a program for you? Distance sending it to them. Sometimes they're like, I'm good, Mom, but other days they're like, okay, I've got this going on. I could use some support, and they feel it. So it's for anybody. I think now we're ready for questions. If anybody wants to ask some questions.
Barbara?
I'd like to do a testimonial myself, but I'd like the one question I do have is, how do you set the sleep for 8 hours? I don't know how to do that. But for testimonial first. So I was writing down some things. Tammy has been doing distance frequencies with me for the last couple of months, at least a distance. And then I went to the January retreat with her, and just Healy kept, we tried it there. And anyway, it kept coming up, and I just thought, well, yes, it's expensive. I'm going to buy it. And it was instinctual. It was impulsive, sort of, but I've been thinking about it for 2 months. But anyway, So let me just tell you a couple of things that have happened to me. One is, and I do several other practices too, Janet, like you and Tammy and everybody else and Amanda, lots of other practices have happened. But I have actually cut out some allergy medicine that I've been taking for 20 something years. I've stopped it. I have been taking a gastrointestinal medication for 30, maybe 25 years. I just stopped that recently. But the big thing was I got a massage on Friday. On Saturday evening, my Achilles heel, my Achilles tendon area started hurting really badly where I couldn't walk, both one in particular. But anyway, so I knew I had to go to a doctor at some point. This was Saturday night. It hurt terribly. I put my feet up. I put the Healy on it and did the pain thing, which I've never done before. I started walking yesterday with no pain after just, one. Anyway, that might have happened anyway. But that's just incredible to me. So those are my stories. And my question is, how do you set something for more hours? Thank you for listening. I love it.
You do it just like you're sending it to yourself in the distance.
I'll say a little bit more about that. There's an app for the Healy, and then there's one called Healy Advisor, and you can add clients into that and set it for a certain amount of time also. And that's the one that I use for distance. So I'll load the information about the client in there, and there's a picture, and set an intention for it, and then you can schedule it for 8 hours on that. And that's what I do. I'm the client when I use the sleep, schedule it for 8 hours.
Thank you so much. And I did have the good sense to buy the kind that I could do distance with. And so I've got some clients in there, but I didn't know I could put myself in there. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Any questions from anybody? Liz?
How big do people take this? Because I could imagine like working on a whole group of people or the planet or you know what I mean? Like, what are some of the ways that you've heard of people or yourselves kind of thinking macro? So I'm thinking like all my clients at the same time run a program for them, you know what I mean? Or an office space, or just interesting ways that might branch out in your imagination.
Amanda, you want to?
Yeah, you can run a resonance program for like a whole region, a whole country, your home, an office space, a whole group of people. And that would be learning how to do the distance sessions. So you would need a Resonance Plus or a Pro to be able to utilize that function with the coaching. And then you can set the intention. Who are the women, Tammy, that you introduced me to? The two women who are doing things for houses, and what are their names?
Frequency Fix.
Yeah, with 2 X's. So the Frequency Fix with 2 X's are these 2 women who have been utilizing the Healy for a long time, and they really opened my eyes to all of the possibilities for distance healing. And the Healy is, there are certain things that people recommend, like, 2 to 3 programs a day, and the 8-hour overnight sleep thing isn't necessarily recommended for maybe the first go around. But if you have experience with frequency and you're like living in the quantum field with like family constellations or things like that, then you have more of an understanding of what's happening. But it really is an intuitive tool. It really becomes, or can become, your oracle. I put my Healy in an abalone shell and put it at my altar. And before I use it, I set intention, and it becomes an ally, and so you get to discover, with with who you are and how you want to use it, all of the possibilities. And it really is just endless possibilities for what you can, align with and send frequencies to. So.
MaryBeth.
Hi, everybody. I'm MaryBeth, and I found the Healy through Tammy, and I'm a coach, and I work with kids regarding mindfulness and meditation techniques and helping them with their stress and anxiety. I'm just wondering, I haven't used them yet with my clients that are, under 18 and consent and explaining this to families that might not get it. Would you consider it, I guess the word's ethical, to use it, like, say, just with my sessions with this kiddo, and that it have just the vibration of that session, not that it's directly on him? I just don't want to, I want to use it in the best way possible. I feel like it's so new for me. I would have a tough time describing this to parents and having them buy into it. But I can definitely see the benefits of it helping in a major way. So how do you think I should handle that?
I'll respond. Anybody else can jump on too. The other thing I'm finding is it feels to me like if I run frequencies on me, it's going into the space. If I'm in relationship with somebody, they're going to be connected to the frequencies. So, I agree. If you're not comfortable talking to a parent, just run it on yourself, and it's going to be in the room, and there's going to be resonance with that. Or like you were saying, you could also set up in the distance, set up the session that's going to happen at whatever time and send frequencies to the session itself.
And also, I mean, I have 2 children, and my 7-year-old is like, all right, Mom, time for a frequency program. And I also have the mag Healy, which is another Healy. And he is like, he wants the mag on his chest, and he wants the Healy. He wants everything all together. And, we don't overdo it. He does probably 1 Healy frequency set about 5 times a week. And he requests it at night. And so it's totally okay to use on children, on pets. And yeah, I think consent is nice. Like Tammy said, you can put it on yourself and it's just radiating out from you. The mag Healy is actually it can be a spatial frequency. So you can put an atmospheric program and it extends out. But yeah, I mean, like having a client go into your coaching app and be stored there, that does require consent. And I think that if it's something that you're really interested in, just like, practicing the language, how you would maybe have a written thing for them to look over and agree to or not agree to. And if you wanted to any help with like the wordage on that, like you could ask any of us and we could totally look it over. But I think it's a really beautiful addition. Yeah.
I would make one suggestion to, did you say you're a coach, life coach, MaryBeth?
Yes.
Yeah, I would suggest asking a friend to let you practice with it. Do a session with a friend while you're wearing the Healy so that you get a greater sense of how it raises your resonance while you're working. You're using it for yourself. That doesn't require consent. You're raising your vibration so that you're a more effective coach for people. I do think it's worth working some with the language so that you can start introducing it to people, because this has so many benefits, and you can educate people about what it is you're using, invite them to try it if they want through parents. But I think it's worth, just working with that some, what kind of language you want to use to explain it. It is difficult to explain. It's like family constellations. How do you explain it? It's in the quantum field. You have to experience it to understand the depth of the healing that takes place. And this is a similar kind of thing. So,
Barbara?
MaryBeth, I was going to say to you, I'm happy to work with you on trying to come up with a consent form. I think that would be cool to do as a collaborative, maybe using different words. I'm happy to work on that. Be interesting to me.
Thank you so much. That was very helpful, guys. Thank you.
You know, I was thinking about this topic this morning, there's a relatively new book, The Myth of Normal by Gabor Mate. And I haven't read a lot of it yet, but so far everything I'm read, I'm just like, yes, like just really looking at the things that our culture and society just deems normal and accepts because it is, the mainstream narrative. And I've been off of TV for a long time, and the shows I would watch would be on Netflix. And so just recently we started watching Yellowstone, which is on a channel that has commercials. And I'm watching the commercials, and every other commercial is a pharmaceutical and y'all know what, and it's like, this is our normal. And then those of us who are into alternative, why is it even alternative? Let's say natural, who are into natural healing, why aren't we the norm? And so I'm just bringing that up as a way of, I really want to start like challenging myself to have these kind of conversations. And it's not like the witches are the one who came up with frequency. I mean, obviously frequencies always existed, but Einstein and Tesla, we've got some smart white men backing it. So why not capitalize on that even? So anyway, that's my soapbox for the day. Other questions? Amanda?
Hi, I'm Amanda as well. And I also have a 7-year-old, and I'm an artist. So I was like, we have a lot in common. But so I don't know much. I mean, this is obviously my first, I had gotten Janet's email, which is why I'm here. But so all these different levels of the Healy, is there, like, what do you recommend in terms of if I'm using it like just for myself and for my son, and like, if I have friends or family or people, I wouldn't be using it professionally, but would love to be able to send, my mom lives in Hawaii, would love to be able to send her. So what would you recommend if I'm not necessarily using it professionally?
So in order to do the distance healing, you would need a Resonance Plus or a Pro. And I have a Pro, but I'm not a pro, I'm not a professional healer or, doing anything like Janet and MaryBeth, but in order to do that distance, that quantum entanglement healing, you would need a Resonance Plus, and that's the second highest tier. If you aren't interested in the distance healing, you could start with, gold, holistic, or resonance. The resonance is going to be able to scan your energy field and give you suggestions on which frequency programs you are most needing in your energetics at that present moment. So the resonance and higher have the ability to scan your energy field and give you suggestions. And then the holistic and the gold, which are the first two tiers, those don't have any sort of resonance scanning abilities, but they are equipped with really loving, gentle frequency sets that you can just intuitively choose for yourself. There's always a potential to upgrade. Sometimes they'll have a sale where you can upgrade from a lower device to a really, really nice device for, less money than it would have costed you to buy the bigger one, so it's just really up to you, how you kind of are feeling into it. I'm not sure if you're close by to anybody, but maybe having asking someone for a session just to kind of feel into it might be a nice option for you.
I also suggest, Amanda, trying it while you're creating. I think the frequencies while you're in the creative process, it would be very interesting to see how that affects your artwork and your whole process, your creative process too. So come see me and we'll talk about it and give you an experience with the Healy too.
And that one of the, which Amanda spoke of this, but I love the fact that you can come in at any place on the spectrum, and then you can, because you can come in at the gold level, get used to it, familiar with it, and that does so much. I mean, it does a lot. And then you can look at, you can do subscriptions for specific programs, or you can buy specific programs, or you can upgrade to the next level. So it's not like one and done, you can kind of ease into it. And, going the full range to the professional level, I feel like I've got this whole, field of material that's going to take me a long time to continue scavenging through, because there's just so much in it. And we haven't really talked about this. One of the things that I really appreciate about it is it does healing at a deep cellular level too. And I keep finding things that I can tell, it's like, whoa, that was some really old patterning, that, I mean, and it tends to be relatively easy. It moves out and a lot lighter. And one of the things I did over the weekend that I thought was really interesting is there's these 6 categories of digital nutrition, and it gives you all these different vitamins and amino acids and all kinds of things like that, the frequency of those things. And so I ran a scan, and it said that I needed the program for alcohol intake. And I'm like, what? I've been sober 14 years. And then it hit me like that deep cellular, that there was things I needed for the deep cellular clearing. And I ran that, and I just felt myself just like vibrating. So anyway, that just blew me away. And
So
then
I also get, I've gotten the alcohol intake from the resonance scan 3 times, and I'm 3 years sober from alcohol. And it's so true. This is energy healing. This is energy clearing. And so there's things that are, still stored inside of our physical beings that are ready to come out, so that we can really come into that harmonization on all levels. And, drinking extra water, resting when you need to, these are all things to consider when you're inviting Healy into your life. But yeah, it's pretty interesting what you sometimes scan for. Yeah.
One of the things I wanted to mention is the community that I'm connected with, because I'm involved with the Healy. It's gotten me in touch with Tammy at a deeper level. She and I have been friends for many years, and once she moved to Florida, we kind of didn't talk as much and that kind of thing. So it's been wonderful. And then one day you were off on some kind of business trip or something, and I couldn't get a hold of you, and I had some questions. So Amanda's like, well, let's talk on the phone. So I had a long phone call with Amanda and felt like I got to know her a little bit. And I know that if I have questions or I'm confused about something, I have people I can turn to, and they'll work with me finding answers. And it's a way we all grow together in that sense. So I just want to say that's a big part of the plus for me, is the community.
Absolutely. I'll speak to that for a moment. I really wanted this to be a little side business for me. And so I've never done an MLM. I didn't know any of the stuff that came with, I didn't know any of the ick factor. Like, I had no idea. I'm like, what? And this business in particular is just so elegant. And, you know, the buy-in for mentorship from whoever you want who is using a Healy is just purchasing the Healy. There's no like membership costs, or, you know, you have to pay for these mastermind, you know, deeper classes that we're getting these incredible, you know, facilitators who have been using the Time Weaver, which is like the professional version of Healy. And these people are just coming onto Zooms and giving us information about how to use the Healy. And we're invited because we are in this community. And it's just been really elegant and really kind to the nervous system. And so like, that's always an option, you know, if, you know, just using the Healy for yourself in your own business and not wanting to share them with other people is a great way to be. You know, you never have to be on the team or anything. But if you are interested in just authentically sharing how the Healy is benefiting you, sharing it with your clients and your family and your friends, and then, you know, joining some of the calls where you're learning more about the Healy, that's just all available to you. So that's just a whole nother portion of it if you're interested.
And I'll speak some to that, because I have experienced the ick factor of network marketing, and I've also always believed in it because it's always a more higher quality product, and it the profit goes to the people who are using it in community instead of some big corporation. So I personally have never had that much of an ick around it, but I do know how much ick there is around it. So I started off by saying, I don't want to be in business. I just want frequencies, and I want people that I know and love to have these frequencies. And then the more I ran frequencies, one day I was like, why would I not want it as a business? Like, why wouldn't I? I've been using frequency in my business all along. So all I did was shift my mindset, and I don't feel any, like you said, there's no entry fee or annual fee or anything like that. And there is opportunity, but I don't feel any pressure to do anything. I'm just enjoying sharing how much I love it and seeing people around me. So.
Can I ask a question? So how do you go from just using it yourself to being part of that community? How do you do
you're here.
No, but you know, like I got my Healy, and Tammy was my whatever person that referred me. Is that, how do you do? I don't know how to do.
All you need is which I can help you with this. In your account, you can get a referral link.
Okay.
And then if you tell somebody about it and they go through your referral link, then you get a percentage of that.
Okay. Thank you. We'll talk more.
Yeah.
And I think another reason why they, well, I don't think, another reason why they have chosen this business model to sell the Healys is because of the regulations and, you know, the shaky history of people getting totally destroyed, you know, their reputations destroyed because they're using frequency medicine, and it is able to help people heal their bodies without the use of, you know, doctors and medicine and all these things that really, you know, have taken over. You know, we're getting commercials from, you know, on the TV about it and everything. And so, you know, when you go on the website, they can't really make a lot of claims. It is FDA approved to be a pain reliever, right? But more than that, they have to kind of be really vague in their language. And so they really look to the people who are using it and all of the unique, beautiful ways that we are to spread the word about it, so they don't get in trouble for making any claims that could potentially, you know, destroy them like Rife in the Rife machine. So that's something to consider too. You know, we're shifting a paradigm of taking care, like putting the power back into our own hands to heal ourselves, right? And, you know, being safe about it in the mainstream. So.
Yeah. Going back, Barbara, to what you were asking, one of the things that I love is like you can be a customer and still benefit from being in, like having access to all the information, and there's no obligation or expectation or requirement to sell anything. And yet if you did, because you can't quit talking about it because you love it and you want to share it with people, then yes, you can also have it set up where you can earn, have a stream of income coming that way. But and there's no, you don't have anything you have to meet for that to happen. Any other questions? Right. Thank y'all so much for showing up, and
Great to be with you today. Thanks, everybody.
yeah. And I'll, since we recorded this, I'll have it posted somewhere. So if anybody wants to share it with anybody, just let me know and I can send it to you too. So,
yeah, and we're all happy, you know, whoever you're friends with in this, you know, if you have further questions, feel free to reach out for a phone call, or, you know, maybe you're just back and forth emailing, and, you know, just let us know what else you are curious about, and we're happy to share.
and I did think of another, I just keep finding all these ways that Healy makes it super easy to experience it from, you know, the distance to, there's also, you can purchase, and there's a 2-week window that you can return it for 100% refund. So there's that too. All right. Thanks again, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.